Hey, you're listening to My Non-Objective Opinion on PeoplesRadioUnited.com. I'm Tim Best Buzz. Today I'm here with Noel from the I Love My Wife Twitter account. How are you doing today, Noel?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on here. Why don't we start off with you tell people a little bit about you and what you guys do on this account, your form of activism. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, my form of activism is pretty much I just try to get the word out on people who have been killed, I guess through police brutality. I'd say, racist vigilantes and stuff like that. And basically, I try to bring those stories out there because they don't get pretty much the coverage that mainstream media delivers on a daily basis. So my wife and I try to get as many families as we can and try to help them out and get their stories out. So that way they can, our followers and their followers can see that we're just trying to put their lives out there and let them know that they're not forgotten. So that's pretty much what we do on a daily basis. And we just try to bring awareness, to people, let them know that this is real. Basically, police brutality is something that's been going on for a very long time. Before I even got here, when I first came on, I was on the found out about Trayvon Martin back in, I think it was the beginning of March 2012 when he was murdered, obviously in February, and I don't know, that story hit me the hardest, because at that time, my son, he was 16 at the time. He looked like Trayvon. He, pretty much was the same type of kid, and I felt like, it was my obligation to say, hey, I have to bring something out there to let, the people know that, this is real. And I just felt like it was my duty, to help. And my wife, she's backed me up 100%. She's been with me. We share this account. She's on here just as much as I am, trying to spread the word. So, she's a big part of, what we do together as a family and try to help, people be aware that, you shouldn't be killed basically because of the color of your skin. That's basically what it is,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that account is really commendable. It keeps, thank you for doing that, because it's rare you see the people's names as not just a forgotten hashtag, but you show them, you deal with their families, you do a lot of really, really important work on that account. And to me, it shows that, like, there's so many different ways to make a difference. Just hopping on Twitter and doing something like this is so amazing, and it helps so many people keep a memory of what's happening with people in the past, and hopefully they'll fight to stop it from happening in the future as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. What was it, the Trayvon Martin case that got you started doing this?
The Trayvon Martin case got me started. I felt like, he was murdered. I felt like, stories that came out about him being a thug and, everything surrounding him that made it seem like it was unfair. I felt like the fact that he was already murdered and he was already killed, people just, from everywhere was piling on, and, there were people who said, what, nah, this don't seem right. The stories don't count. And the Zimmerman story that he told everybody, from him supposedly screaming to him being hit on the pavement when, obviously there was no blood on the pavement or whatever have you not. It just felt, it was wrong. And I could tell that he was making up the story as he went along. And, we went from there. We was like, what, we're going to try to help, others and stuff like that, and try to, make sure that they get the recognition that they deserve, and those families, that get pushed to the back, stay in the front. Because, when you get families who are in need of help, but they don't get the platform of being on mainstream media like certain families do, I feel like it's not fair, because everybody who's been murdered and killed they have to have a voice, and I feel like, we're just being a small part of that voice, to let them know
Yeah.
that, people do care, and there have been, some family members who have told us, like, we thank you for just, putting a name out there, just letting them know that they're being recognized and that they're not forgotten. And they're truly not, because it's like, there's so many, there was so many before us, there's so many during us, and there's going to be so many after us. But, as long as these names keep coming out there and there's always a hashtag coming out, it's like, man, I'm tired of adding names to this. I'm tired of, having to, put names and hashtags and letting them know that, they were murdered. I wanted I wanted to stop, but obviously, we all got to do it together to make it stop. So that's basically the plan.
How do you stay positive? Because I mean, I do a lot of work with different groups and different actions, but your specific form of activism, it's like you get more losses than you do wins. Because I know the Kendrick Johnson case just devastated some activists as well as so many. Like when Zimmerman got off, the same kind of thing. It's like a constant lose, 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 lose. The killers are always off. The killers are walking the streets, and we're left with these victims and their families suffering still. How do you stay positive and keep going? Because I know a lot of activists need to.
Well, basically, in the Zimmerman trial, once we got the verdict, I was upset. My wife was upset. We were all upset. A lot of people were upset, and we went off Twitter for a while, a few months, because we were like, we put so much work to try to help, Trayvon Martin and his family, see that, that there were so many people that supported them, and that we wanted the world to see the truth, and obviously, we felt like the DA didn't do her job correctly. It was just like, we'll charge him, we'll shut everybody up by charging him, but when it really came down to the case, when the facts needed to be presented, it was more like, well, we don't think this happened, and it started changing. The narrative started changing. It was like, yeah, well, we really don't care, too much about Trayvon Martin, so, it is what it is. But, it stung, but we came back because we felt like, we started to see that there were more lives being taken, and, we just felt like we can't give up the fight now because, just because we got this loss, and Zimmerman's out there free doing, whatever, God knows what, what I'm saying, messing with who. But, I feel like, one way we're going to get justice, for all these people and all these families and stuff, because, God don't like ugly, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much how we remain positive, because there's a higher power, you know what I mean? And, the system is not made for people with black and brown skin, and it's obvious. We've seen it as early as, Philando Castile, which was clearly murder, but you know what I'm saying? Look what happened. He got out. So it's pretty much like, you want to get, the stories out there as much as possible to let people know to keep fighting, keep going, keep doing everything that you can to let these families know that you got their back, number one. Let them know that their loved ones are not forgotten, especially the ones that they always want to call somebody a thug and stuff like that. That really, gets to me, because you don't know the person. They were murdered, unjust. And there are a lot of times where it's like, oh, well, I fear for my life. I was scared and stuff like that. It's like, the first thing is, I'm saying, you don't always have to, take a gun and, that's the way the cops do it now. They think they see a gun, it's a wrap for you. You're not going to survive, because their first instinct is to kill, especially if you're a black person. They're already thinking you have a gun in your hand or something in your hand, always trying to hurt somebody and stuff like that. And that's just not the case, Yeah,
it seems they see people of color, especially black people, as an imminent threat from the second they're pulled over or stopped on the street for usually no good reason. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I'm just wondering, how did you feel about the? I know Philando Castile was murdered in Minneapolis, and then they killed the white woman Justine Damon,
Hmm.
and there was a big difference in how people responded to both of those.
Yeah, that. I mean, I look at it like this. She didn't she didn't deserve to die, but it also puts it in perspective as who gets treated fairly and who doesn't. You know, obviously, Philando Castile did everything right, but he was portrayed somewhat as a thug. You know, Justine was, the pinnacle of everything. She was according to her lawyer, the most innocent victim in the world, and police brutality. And I'm looking like, how is that even possible when you have Tamir Rice, you have Ayanna Stanley Jones, and those are young children who were innocent, who didn't even have to go and try to do anything with cops or try to talk to cops or anything for them to even be murdered. Ayanna Stanley Jones was sleeping.
Yeah.
And it's like, you really gonna say that, knowing the situation? Like, look, she didn't deserve to die, but it looks like they're gonna move heaven and earth to convict this cop, and knowing that he's a black man, you already know. You know what I mean? That's all I gotta say. I know the difference. You could tell the difference of how they're going to approach it. And it just doesn't seem fair.
The chief of police resigned over this.
Yeah, I heard he resigned and stuff like that.
Last week we did a show where we kind of talked about this, and they brought up the most innocent victim ever.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about Philando Castile, and we did bring up Tamir Rice as well, but Philando Castile was an innocent victim. He didn't do anything illegal.
Absolutely.
He had a legal gun that was carried, and if he was a white dude, they walk down the street with these things, go grocery shopping, go to restaurants, and nobody's pulling them over and shooting them.
Exactly. I've seen videos of, white men with guns, shooting. They don't get killed by cops. I've seen one that had a sword who was swinging it at cops. They found a way to stop him without killing him. So it's, to me, it's who will get the treatment and the fairness, and who won't. You know what I'm saying? And that's just basically the system of white supremacy. That's the way it works. And in order for us, to get the justice that we deserve, we're gonna have to have that destroyed. I mean, I look at I don't know if you know Christopher Kalonji. His mother, she's from Israel, and her son is half black, and they basically treated her and her son like they were nothing. Her oldest son is in jail for supposed weapon charges and stuff like that. She's trying to get him home. Families like that, who have, I would say, half black, children and stuff like that. Those mothers are suffering too, because I guess they understand, what the deal is. They're like, wow, this happened to my son too. He's half black and he's white, but he doesn't get in the pass because, his skin color. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to look at it in variables, and to the point where you see where the justice is going to get. Just the people who are going to get justice, and you already know the people who are not. And as far as I can tell, every time I hear, oh, we're charging a cop or we're charging somebody with murder when they murder a black man, woman, or child, I don't hold my breath no more, because I already know pretty much what the outcome's going to be. They're going to get off. And after Philando Castile, I put a couple of tweets out there. I said, don't, for all you DAs out there who love to tell us, oh, they're getting charged, we already know why they're getting charged, because you don't want us rising up and fighting for what's right. So you put that out there to pacify people, and you tell them, we'll charge them, but when that comes to the actual trial, secretly we're not really going to charge them. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to do anything. You know what I'm saying?
The whole system's set up to get them off, from grand juries to like every aspect of the system is set up. Their unions jump in, they get a paid vacation, they get patted on the back, and then
Oh, definitely. They definitely get patted on the back. It's to them. It's always one less, Negro on the street. You know what I mean? That's the reason why they do it. They wanna, they wanna, they wanna destroy. They want to destroy the people, man. They want to destroy black people, and it's like, what did they do, to deserve, what they're getting on a daily basis, from being harassed to being in jail to being poor. They relish in that, and now it's like, well, we'll just take them, we'll murder them too. You know what I'm saying? Keep murdering them, and one thing I can't stand also is this whole, oh, you guys don't care about black on black crime. It's always black on black crime. I was like, come on, man, really?
I get that all the time. We've debunked that about 30 times on our different shows throughout.
Exactly. And anybody can debunk it. You know what I mean?
If you want to go through it right now, we can. I mean, it's a ridiculous argument that they bring up every single time.
Exactly. That's the only argument they think they have, but they really don't. Because to me, white on white crime is just as bad, if not way more evil, than black on black crime. So I don't know where they come up with this, oh, black people kill black people on a higher rate than white people kill white people. Or white people. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing with the argument. I mean, first of all, poor on poor crime. People that are usually murdering other people a lot at those rates are poor people. And this country keeps black people poor more than pretty much any other group.
Exactly.
With maybe the exception of Native people. So you have poor people kill each other or fight for money or whatever and do crimes because they need money. And people kill in proximity to where they live, and most people live with people around people of their own race.
Exactly, I agree with you.
So in a poor white neighborhood, you're going to have a lot more white on white crime. In a poor Latino neighborhood, you're going to have more Latino on Latino crime. In a poor black neighborhood, you're going to have more black on black crime. It's just the nature of how crime is and where people live. I mean, it's such a joke to bring that up.
Exactly, but the thing is that mainstream media wants to put it where there's only a black face showing on TV, killing another black person. That's what they want to do, because they want every day to show that, every other race is not like the black race. The black race is always trying to hurt somebody, when it's quite the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of black mothers, a lot of black fathers who want to be right, they want to do right, and they take care of their women, they take care of their children, they take care of their men. You know what I'm saying? And, that's what I see on a daily basis. I'm not here trying to say that, that black people are always trying to hurt somebody, because they're not.
Yeah, but another thing, let's say the black on black crime was an issue like these people say, which it isn't. I'm just saying for the sake of argument. How many of these people get off and don't go to jail and don't end up getting killed? Pretty much most of them get caught. The police are always investigating these crimes. But who does get off are the police that murder innocent people, the police that murder unarmed people, the police who murder people with a knife in their hand, which puzzles me because this is the only country where people with knives get gunned down. Exactly. Every other country has problems with knives, and nobody's getting gunned down. They take the people into custody. I mean, you have all this military gear, you have all these non-lethal options, but the first thing they do is go to the gun. He's got a knife, he's 20 feet away, blow him away, and don't stop shooting. Then cuff him. Like, what?
And then cuff him. To add insult to injury, then cuff him. And then you bring up a good point, because it's like, when it does come to black on black crime, usually somebody is getting arrested for that crime. And like you said, when it comes to, police officers and stuff like that, most, 9 times out of 10, they're not getting charged. You know what I'm saying? And we know 99.9% of the time they're not going to get a conviction against these cops. You know what I'm saying? It's very rare, since I've been on Twitter, there's only been one case that I saw a white man got convicted of a murder, and that was in Jordan Davis' case. You know what I'm saying? And that was the only time I've seen a cop. I mean, he wasn't a cop. He, a regular dude, who killed a young black teen, and he got convicted of murder. You know what I'm saying? He almost got off too. It was very close. They, so I mean, it's like, all the names that we put out there, there's only been one that's actually gotten justice. So many have gotten no type of justice
Who's
at
the
all.
one? Who's the one that got justice?
Well, Jordan Davis's.
Okay.
His murderer, he was convicted of murder, and that was it. When I run down the list of names and stuff, he's the only one that I've seen so far that has gotten some type of justice. Everybody else has either been forgotten, and stonewalled, and pretty much everything that you can do to block a family from getting some type of justice. The justice system has done to basically black people. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way it's been.
Yeah. Do you think they cuffed? This is kind of a little bit off what we just talked about a second ago. You think they cuffed Justine Damon's body?
I don't know. To be honest,
that's something I'd like to know. If they treated her like any other suspect that they shoot and cuff her body.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't been up on that case, as much. I've heard, seen tweets and read stories about it, but I haven't really kept up on it because once I saw that they were already, the way that they've been acting about that whole her shooting, I could just tell that, this one they're going to get the cop for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also you got to realize it's an international incident. She's not an American citizen. She's a Australian citizen, which is an ally and all this, and
yeah, they're going to do
looks really bad.
Yeah. I mean, it looks bad when they kill black people, but like I said,
Well, I'm saying for the media, that has a white blonde woman on it, then all of a sudden people sympathize. Philando Castile was equally as innocent. I mean, like they were saying, she took care of baby ducklings and stuff, and I said, yeah, well, Philando Castile knew all these kids' names and their allergies and fed children every day.
Exactly, and
but he was,
Yeah, they don't talk about that. The untold stories of these young brothers and sisters is, some of these stories that they do and they used to do were amazing. These people were amazing people, and the only story you hear from them was either if they had a past criminal record, or could they have had a past criminal record, or were they, going to do something. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, is like, what was their intent? How do you know what their intent was? They're probably scared out of their mind, especially, knowing a cop is pulling you over or messing with you or chasing you down. Your first instinct is to be scared. You know what I'm saying? I don't know many.
Someone with a gun pulling you over, shining lights on you, has all the rights to kill you and get away with it.
Exactly.
Of course you're scared. I think it should be totally legal to run from them.
I agree. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do you sit there and it's like you have to take it too, because if you do run, they'll shoot you in the back. They don't care. And they'll say, well, he hit me and he ran from me and, I fell for my life. I had to shoot him. You know what I'm saying? We've seen cases, that some of these brothers shot in the back and it's like, the Walter Scott case. Everybody saw that on video. He was running away, like he was literally basically telling you, I'm scared. Dude stops, takes his gun out, and shoots 7-8 rounds on him. And he's free to walk.
People aren't supposed to run after seeing that. I mean, at least running, you have a chance maybe of evading getting shot. Standing there, you're going to get shot. Let me see your ID. Okay, here. No. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
I mean, it's
and that to me is the most idiotic thing. You ask somebody for their ID, but you're asking them for their ID. So what do you expect them to do? Not to go behind their back and get their wallet? Because everybody that I know puts their ID in their wallet, and it's usually in their back pocket. So you're already thinking, holy shit, he's a black dude. He got a gun. You know what I'm saying? Let me get mine ready. As soon as he pulls it back there, I'm going to pull the trigger on him. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? You're not giving that person an opportunity at life. So, it's real heartbreaking. knowing, that,
Yeah.
a lot of these people have to deal with that. And then, you know, I don't know how, like, you know, these cops are coming to these families and telling them, and like, well, he was doing something wrong. You guys, he got killed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, the way that, I know a lot of these cops, they're not apologizing to the families and stuff like that. They're just like, it's another day on the job, you know. And, I'm tired of these, the sympathizers that always telling, respect the cops, but the cops don't respect the people at all.
Exactly.
They do not respect the people. We're the ones that pay your bills, we pay you, through our taxes and stuff like that. You're supposed to work for us. You're supposed to protect us, not kill us at a rate where, last, 5 years, it feels like it's going up. I didn't realize how bad it was, until a couple of years ago when we started following, the counted and stuff like that. I was like, wow, all these people getting killed by cops, it's amazing. It's like, I don't hear stories of cops actually saving lives anymore.
With all the war on terror stuff they have going on, which is the cops' excuse for everything they're scared of, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a show a while back where I read some statistics. I don't happen to have them right here, but it basically showed that if you take Islamist extremists, white Christian, racist Klan, Nazis, all them together, all the terrorist groups, and add up all their murders, the police still, I think, are 10 or 15 times more murders a year than all of them combined.
That's ridiculous. I mean, you look at it for what it is. It's like, there's a war here, and there's a war on black people on a daily basis. When, my son leaves, he's 21 now. He leaves the house. Me and my wife are always worried, especially if he leaves late. And he's 21. You're not supposed to be worried about your son, being killed by cops. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we fear, as we're getting older as well. It's like, every day, you don't want to have that fear. You know what I'm saying? It's like no parent should ever want to have to feel that pain, of, you got to sit by the phone hoping your son or daughter calls you and let you know, hey, mom, I made it. I'm at work. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to be that way. You know what I'm saying? They should go do what they got to do and come back home and not be bothered. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like so many of these people have been. They don't do nothing, but yet they're labeled like, they're suspicious. And, so it's getting bad out there. And, to me, I'm just like, a lot of people, are starting to recognize that it's getting bad, and a lot of people are starting to wake up. A lot of people are not taking it no more. They're fighting back. We're seeing, crowds of people just keep on, saying that enough is enough. So.
Do you? I know you work with a lot of the victims' mothers and families, and
yes.
Does it seem like, I know a lot of people, if it's not happening to them, it doesn't seem real and they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Did a lot of them start off with that mentality, or were most of them pretty much active in trying to deal with the issue before, or do they kind of change after that?
I mean, you're talking about like one of the family, like one of the victims of, like the family members of a victim?
Well, I'm saying like most people, I mean, we're kind of a different breed of people. Like, we care and we try to help, and we're activists.
Yeah.
And we work hard to try to get equality. But the average person is like, if it doesn't affect me, I don't care about it. And that's why I think we're way back here. So I'm just wondering, from what you know, I know you don't know the people's, whole life stories. What I'm saying, from what you see, did people, were they aware of this problem before it hit them personally, or were they kind of ignorant to the fact that they knew it happened, but it wasn't me, it won't affect me kind of thing?
Well, I mean, I could attest to you that one of the family's victims, Marlene Gephardt, her grandson Tyler Gephardt, he was very active and vocal about police brutality and killing, and she had told me a story that she was pretty much waking up to the idea of it because, her son was so passionate, her grandson was so passionate about it, and she said that, she was hearing him and she was, trying to understand where he was coming from. And she had told me that her real awakening was when she found out that her grandson was murdered by a cop. And she felt like at first, like, wow, this happened to me. And she felt like, her whole world crashed because, it actually, her grandson was talking about police brutality. So it was similar to, how Sandra Bland was. And,
Yeah.
she knew what was going on. And, she ended up, dead. I believe she was murdered. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put that out there on record. I believe she was murdered. I don't believe she hung herself. I don't believe that the way she was fighting with the cop telling him that she was going to fight this, and she was ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Not fight him physically or try to, hurt the cop, but she was ready to fight in court. I didn't think she murdered herself.
Yeah, I think most people would agree with that.
Yeah, but as far as, Marlene Gephardt, she was torn up about it. And she basically said my grandson was right. And, that's why she's fighting every day for her grandson. Because she feels like now she's part of a group of, mothers and grandmothers and aunts and, who have to deal with their loved one being murdered, at the hands of racist cops. You know what I'm saying? And, when she told us about that, we felt so horrible for her. And we promised her that, we're going to keep your grandson's memory alive. We're not going to let nobody forget him. And, that's pretty much been everybody's fight. You know what I'm saying? Everybody we've come across, we ask first, is it okay if we, let people know about, your loved one? And, 99.9% of the time they're telling us yes, that would be helpful. You know what I'm saying? And, we that's basically what we've dedicated ourselves to. Every night we put it out. It gets, to the point where it's hard to look at the pictures because every time you see a picture of somebody who's gone, you always see them happy. Every picture that we have of, all these victims, they're smiling. And you think in the back of your head, they're not there no more, though. You know what I'm saying? And it messes with your mind at times because it's just like all these people, you know what I'm saying, dead basically for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So it gets to the point where you feel like, like, to me, it feels like at times I want to just say, I don't know what I could do, what else I could do. You know what I'm saying? But then in the back of my mind, it's like, what, you got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because, they can't speak no more. You're part of the voice that needs to be voiced for them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not sitting here telling you I have, that they, talk to me in my sleep. No, I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? But they do deserve a voice, and they do deserve somebody, just not their family, to fight for them. Because, to me, I say it like this: their family members are their family members, right? That's their loved ones. People are always gonna say, well, they're fighting for them because that's their loved one. But when there's other people fighting for these victims, it shows that something was wrong. You know what I'm saying? The more people that you can get and the more people that you can see who are fighting for these victims, it shows that, something went wrong. This person was actually murdered. And why were they murdered? And 9 times out of 10, we don't get the answer to that. Why? Because they're lying, they're hiding the truth, they're hiding evidence and stuff like that. And that's a big problem. You know what I'm saying? Cops are always preaching this love, protection and truth and honesty and stuff like that. They're always telling you to do that, right? But they're the first ones. They'll be the first ones lying to your face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it's hard. I know from just the stuff I work on. it's hard because you see the pain with the families, and how their whole lives have changed and just been devastated, and you know, and it comes back and it hits you, and it's like, yeah, there's you got to really be strong and take care of yourself doing stuff like this, because it really hits you hard. You're seeing it firsthand. What do you think we could can be done to get more people involved and more people caring about this before it personally affects them or their families?
I mean, to me, I just feel like, you know, the more people, you know, see what's going on and, you know, take it to heart that what if it was your kid? What if it was your mom or your aunt or your, you know, anything that, you know, try to look at, you know, like say, we'll put Kendrick Johnson out there, right? Say Kendrick Johnson, he's 17, and say you're a father. You know what I'm saying? Put yourself in that position where you're being told that, you know, your son was, you know, possibly doing something, and, you know, the cops are telling you that we are saying that he was murdered, that he wasn't murdered, he died accidental. You know what I'm saying? And when you got to look at it like that, and you take it to the account, like, you know, I saw my son's face. I saw what he looked like. He looked like he was beat to death. Are you seriously going to sit there and tell me that he wasn't murdered? You know what I'm saying? And that's how I try to tell families. I even tell my own family members. You know what I'm saying? Because they're family members of mine who, you know, who look at the situation for what it is, and they try not to get involved. And, you know, and I try to tell them, like, you know, we have black and brown children in our families. What you're going to do if something happens to them? You're going to sit there and believe the cops right off the bat without an investigation and saying that your son was doing something or your daughter was doing something, you know, without it actually being factual, or you not trying to investigate to make sure that something wasn't what it was, to make sure that, you know, my child or my daughter wasn't murdered. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I have to look at it. You have to put yourself in these families' positions and say, you know, what if this was my child? What if this was my relative? You know, so that's how I tell people to look at it. And I do get a lot of people who you know, who tell us, you know, who tweet at us and, you know, send us messages and saying, man, you know, you guys do this on a daily basis. I don't know how you do it, but, you know, we thank you for doing it. And, you know, we understand, you know, what's going on, you know. So, you know, that's something that keeps us motivated too, because we get a lot of people who, you know, who give us a lot of feedback and say, you know, we will say a prayer for, you know, these families. We will continue to put their names out there with you guys, you know. So that gives us motivation every day. And also, you know, the families, you know, when they're coming to us and thanking us, you know, all the time, that helps too. That gives us peace of mind, knowing that, you know, what we're doing something right. You know, when these families are, you know, telling us, like, you know, we thank you so much for just, you know, just putting their stories out there, you know. So that, you know, that's something that we get a chance to you know, to honor them and stuff like that, and let them, you know that we got their back, you know.
Yeah, because these families, unlike most people, I would say a majority of people who have somebody murdered, the murderer isn't walking the streets, a known person walking the streets that they might run into in their own neighborhood, who has authority to just do whatever they want, basically.
Exactly.
That's an extra added thing with these cop cases, some government cases as well. Like, you know, these murderers are just known people allowed to walk the streets, and many of them haven't even lost their jobs.
Yeah, I know.
And some of them are winning awards a year or two later after murdering somebody. That's got to be devastating for their family members, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
The guy who murdered my family member is on stage getting an award for doing his job in an exemplary way or something.
Yeah, it's like he's getting awarded for doing what he did. I believe, you know, the cop who strangled Eric Garner is supposedly still on the force. He received a couple of awards, and I think he got a promotion.
Yeah,
You know.
a lot of. I've noticed. I've been looking into this for quite a few, many years,
Hmm.
and a lot of these cops, within a year or two after murdering some innocent black person or
Hmm.
Latino person, they get awarded for something else, something different. But so
Yeah.
I think it's to shove it in the family's face, like here's a guy that murdered, we got away with it.
Yeah, exactly. And now you're seeing a trend that some of these cops are getting fired from, you know, misconduct of the police force. I was like, no, why don't you get this bastard for murder? How about that? I wouldn't be satisfied if a relative of mine or my child was murdered by a cop, and you guys say, well, we're not gonna charge him, but we'll fire him. You know what I'm saying? What is that doing for, for my loved one? Absolutely nothing. And then, this whole connotation that another thing that kind of makes me upset is that, a lot of these families, they're going to sue for large amounts of money and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like this. I don't know no parent who's going to sit there and say, oh, you're giving me $2 million. I'm going to be straight and I'm going to keep my mouth shut about my son or my daughter's murder. You know what I'm saying? There's no amount of money that could ever satisfy a family member who's grieving, especially one who's a murder victim's family and stuff like that. And that to me is just ridiculous when they always say that black people are always trying to make it, trying to get some type of come off when their loved one is murdered and stuff. It's not the point of them trying to get money. It's still they're trying to seek justice and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that frustrates, my wife and I too, because they're already thinking that, oh, we just want the money, you know what I'm saying, and we'll shut up about it. That's something that's got to go too, because, I don't know no family members that, are going to sit there and take it and say, yeah, well, we'll take it and we'll shut up, and that's what we really wanted anyway. Yeah, we wanted, our loved one to die, so, that's something that's out there too, so. That's something that I wanted to put out there too, because it's not about the money. I could tell you that much. A lot of these families are fighting for the right reasons. It's not about money.
Yeah. Well, that kind of segues in the next question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, we pay for the police misconduct. We pay for their murders. They're not paying it out of their pensions or out of their pockets or out of their police funds. It's coming out of tax dollars. So besides maybe taking money out of the actual police funds and and pensions and making it actually hurt them, or even their unions pay for it or something, it comes out of ours. But beside doing that, what else could be done on the side of the police, on the side of the government, on the side of them to make some changes to make this better?
I think if from basically what it is that obviously we know the justice system isn't fair. That's clear as day. Me personally, I feel that if you're not going to be equal to all, then abolish the system, because it's like, why are you going to have a system only to help certain people? And especially when I look at it, rich people are the ones that get pretty much everything, and poor people and black people and people of color mainly do not get no type of justice for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like what I told you before, when I hear a charge from one of these cops and stuff like that, it's a charge. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean a conviction.
Yeah.
So it's like, you already know what the situation is and you see it for what it is, but to me it doesn't seem like it's ever gonna be fair. And they could tell us till they're blue in the face that justice is blind all they want, but we know where justice is and justice is not, because they tell us and they flaunt it to our faces all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's a form, that's something that needs to be destroyed, because you can't tell people that we're going to do a good job, we're going to protect you, and we're going to help your family out, you know what I'm saying, because we care, you know what I'm saying, and then lo and behold, you're not doing the job that you're set out to do. And a lot of these people, the cops and the detectives and stuff like that, they're not really trying to do the job that needs to be done.
Yeah.
it's crooked all the way from the top, man. So it's like, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? You hope. You know what I'm saying? You pray that maybe somebody has a heart, and that's very rare that you're gonna find somebody who actually cares about taking these cases. So to me it's like, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't fight back physically, because if you do fight back, you're either gonna get murdered or you're gonna be labeled a terrorist. Oh, you hate America that much. It's not about you hating America. It's a fact that, you got to find a way to fight for your survival. And these people are taking lives and not paying the consequences for it. You know what I'm saying? You're actually taking somebody's life. This person will not ever breathe again. This person will never walk the face of this planet again. So you got to look at it like that. And the fact that a lot of these cops and a lot of these racists are getting away with it, you know what I'm saying, is making them emboldened too, because they feel like, hey, I got off this time. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we could do it again. Yeah. And that's basically what it's doing. It's emboldening them, especially these white supremacists, on a daily basis, because they're like, you know what, we're not getting arrested. Cops ain't getting arrested. It's it's free to kill and hurt black people and people of color on a daily basis. And we're seeing more and more of these videos of white people getting in black people's faces, calling them the N-word to their faces, spitting on them and stuff like that. It's getting real.
Shooting, stabbing.
It's getting And I'm mentioning just the little stuff. It's shooting and stabbing. They don't care because they feel like they're gonna get away with it anyway. So why not do it? And then they expect us to just sit back and take it. You know what I'm saying? And the minute we start fighting back, that's when there's going to be a problem. And it shouldn't be like that. Everybody, has a right to defend themselves. That's their number one right. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like your life is in danger and in true danger, you have the right to protect yourself. But like I said, if a black man goes out there, he's truly defending himself against white attackers, and he ends up getting the best of them, and dude ends up dead, black dude's going to get arrested right on the spot. If it happens the other way around, it could take up to 45 days until they, like they did Zimmerman. They waited that long to to charge him and stuff like that. Or they just won't, they won't do nothing. They'll know who the suspect is, but they won't do nothing. So.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact I tweeted the other day. If you take the police and the military of the U.S., we the people outnumber them 10,000 to 36.
Wow. So
I mean, there's another option. We could all just hit the streets and they couldn't do anything really.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you on that. If we all decided to take the streets and just take our rights back and say, you know what, from what we know and the way that this country is supposed to work, y'all work for us. So you either get in line or get the hell out of our way. You know what I mean? And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way they say they had it run, right? But we all know it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? The people don't know nothing about what's going on. The government ain't going to tell us nothing, you know what I'm saying, of what they're doing. They always keep everything a secret. So it's like, what can be done, you know what I'm saying? But, if you voice your opinion on something, you're a threat. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why you got to be a threat? If you're speaking the truth, you're not technically a threat. You're speaking the truth, and you're trying to make a change to something that's been going on for hundreds of years. People of color have, especially black people, have, been dealing with, slavery. They've been dealing with Jim Crow, mass incarceration. Now the racism is actually back in your face. It's like, there's no slavery now, obviously, but there is slavery, in jails and stuff. And, white supremacists feel like they're emboldened. They can do whatever they want to you anyway. So it's like, it's out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we as a people got to come together, and we got to protect ourselves, protect your families and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I was a proponent for black men, women, and stuff to arm themselves, because to me, I feel like it's important to keep yourself armed. And I know that you're running a risk, obviously, Philando Castile and stuff like that. They're already thinking that you're a threat without a gun. Just imagine when they know you do have a gun. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I know that's
it has to be normalized because, as most people know, the one time the NRA went against gun rights was when the Black Panthers went up on the Sacramento City Hall steps
hmm
with machine guns and rifles and
yeah.
stuff, and all of a sudden the NRA is against people being able to have these guns in California and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, their thing was black people can't have guns. We can't let them have guns.
well, I mean, it needs to be as normalized as a white person with a gun because
Exactly.
look at social media. You can have the exact same picture. You have a white dude with an American flag and a gun. He's a
hmm
patriot. You have a black dude be standing in the same exact thing without the American flag, and all of a sudden he's a thug.
Yep.
It's a real double standard that needs to be tackled, and people need to get out of that. Is based on sheer racism.
Yep. It's based on racism. It's a stereotype. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these, the gangster rapping and the gangster movies and stuff like that, where you see um, black people with guns and stuff like that. They're already thinking that, holy shoot, they have guns. Look at how they act and stuff like that. They're always trying to rob somebody, always trying to kill somebody, and that's the way it is. But it is strictly pure racism, and it needs to be changed in a very big way.
Yeah. Well, here. Let me a couple more questions real quick. I know. I've been
Yeah.
holding you up all night, and I appreciate you doing this show. But
No, I'm
back.
good, man. It's just,
Okay, cool. Back to what we talked about a second ago. I
Mhm.
asked you what you thought the police could do, maybe, and I understand we feel the same way. It's a racist institution founded
Yeah.
on racism, and it's never
Mhm.
going to be perfect. And until
Yeah.
we can find a way to dismantle it, destroy it, and make something different, it's going to be the
Mhm.
way it is. But as it is right
Yeah.
now, realistically, do you think there's an amount of training or being held to accountability or something that can make it better than what it currently is that they could be working on?
Um,
Or
reach
that's
out. To me, I feel like reach out to the people. Reach out to them. And if you really want to make a change, you listen to the people in the streets and you ask them what's really going on. Get to the bottom of it. Why you don't trust us? You know what I'm saying? Then those questions are not being asked. You know what I'm saying? And if they are being asked, they're not being asked enough. Because I feel like this, you know what I'm saying, when the community can't trust the people who are sworn to protect them, then that's a problem. Why is it that people of color cannot trust the cops? Because they're not going out there trying to show them that they care, and that's number one. And they're not putting the people who are committing crimes and stuff like that, in jail. They're actually always looking at an innocent person and putting them in jail. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feels like to me. But I feel like, you gotta reach out to the people at least and try to get a grasp for it. Your first instinct shouldn't be, this person is a thug, because you don't know what that person is. They may dress a certain way, but that doesn't mean that that's the type of person that they are on the inside. And I feel like I walk around people of color on a daily basis. My first instinct is I'm not thinking that they're a thug. You know what I'm saying? They're going on what the fashion is. They're going on, what the music is. They want to play sports. They want to have fun. You know what I'm saying? Especially a lot of these teenagers and stuff like that. And then also when the government is taking away, thousands of programs for these children to get some type of education and get some type of understanding and grasp for life. You know what I'm saying? Especially in poor neighborhoods. But you keep them in the rich neighborhoods. What is that going to do for your children? They're going to be in the streets and stuff like that. So
yeah.
that to me is something that needs to change. Cops need to, if they really truly do care, like they say they do, you reach out, to the people, and you try to let them know that we're going to do everything right. You know what I'm saying? And but like I said, asking for that to me is going to be a problem, because I don't think that they truly care. Like I said, I don't see a lot of cop stories of them actually saving lives, and trying to, take down the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? From what I
Yeah.
see, it's, they're killing innocent people.
Yeah, I fully agree. I don't think. I mean, I was asking you about that because I don't think that we could leave it up to them to reform themselves in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
But a lot of my friends in other countries, the first thing they say is, "Why do you guys put up with this? Why aren't there people in the streets just going crazy? Why aren't cops dying left and right? Why isn't there a war? Why are you letting this happen?" I mean, you know what I mean? These people are like, we watch from across the seas, and we're like, what the heck are you guys allowing?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why it hasn't gotten to that point yet. But I feel it's there. I feel like the pot is ready to burst.
A lot of us feel like that, I think
it's coming. I think, to me, I personally believe that it's coming. That the time, for this is gonna stop. And I think the people are gonna stop it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we're giving them chance after chance to get this right, and it seems like more and more they're taking our kindness for weakness. And I feel like, why do y'all continue when we're just trying to live our lives, but you guys are continuing to take those lives? So I think it's getting to a boiling point. I think people are really starting to get fed up, and I think people are really starting to take it to the point where, it's going to be a point where it's going to be us or them, and it shouldn't be that way, but it just feels like it's going to be,
Well, so hopefully it's us in the end.
I firmly believe it's going to be us in the end, because, evil doesn't succeed. You know what I'm saying? Evil will not, be victorious. And what these people have done, to me, is pure evil. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hope you're right. I've seen evil be victorious in the past.
Well, evil has been victorious, but I'm talking about at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think evil will prevail. But that's how I see it. Happening and stuff like that. I don't know how they're gonna change it, and I don't think they want to change it. I think they're happy with the way things are. I think the government is cool with the way things are, because they don't really care. You know what I'm saying? You can go to these politicians, and we don't really go into politics like that. I'm not gonna get into a whole bunch of politics, because that's not really my thing. But I could tell that a lot of these politicians and a lot of these people who have a way to make changes, they don't really care about people of color either.
Yeah, it starts at the top and goes all the way down. I'm an anarchist. I don't think, just like I don't think we need police, I don't think we need presidents and Congress and all that either. I think we could run our own lives pretty good without it. But that's just me. But what could, in your opinion, what could and should people, activists, just the average person that wants to make a difference, everybody, what should people be doing right now to try to make this better, to try to get it changed?
To me, find what is true to your heart, and look for the people who really care about their people. If you really care about your people, you're gonna come together with your people no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like once you get to that point in your life where you're like, I'm tired of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of seeing people dead in the street on a constant basis. There's cops, racist, white supremacists, they keep getting off and stuff like that. You're going to join a movement. You're going to join a reason. You're going to come to that realization like, I got to do something. I'm going to stand for something. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to help my brothers and sisters get out of this, And, that to me is something that you have to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to find a reason, to want to fight for your people. You know what I'm saying? And I think, seeing thousands of bodies in the street laying dead and stuff like that, I think that'll give you as much motivation as you need, because it gave us that motivation when we saw, the Mike Browns in the middle of the street, and you know what I'm saying? So stuff like that'll wake you up in a heartbeat, because you're already thinking in your head that could have been me.
And you're right. People see it as one at a time, a hashtag, another hashtag, almost daily. but they have to look at it literally is a pile of bodies, thousands of bodies.
Yep.
I mean, that's how people really need to look at this, not each specific incident. It's that the system is mass murdering people according to their race and social status right after the race, you know?
And that's how you gotta look at it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta give yourself a reason to fight every day. And if you don't have a reason to fight, then, you know, what are you really doing? You know, you can't go, it can't go unignored, you know what I'm saying? Because you gotta look at it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a person of color and I'm just going out my day, you know, like nothing is going on in the world, you know, at some point or another, you could become that hashtag. You could be talking about you know what I'm saying, tomorrow or the next day and stuff like that. Because once people become aware of what the system is really trying to do, they're going to do something about it, and they're going to want to do something about it. And I feel that deep in my heart that, you know, once our people continue to wake up and continue to be woke, it's going to get to the point, like I said, it's the boiling point, and that's it's going to reach over, and we're going to fight for our survival, and we're going to fight in a way where, you know what, we're not going to want to lose. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to get back in the chains, and we don't want to continue to see our bodies in the street. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that, you know, we're going to keep fighting for. You know, but I believe, like I said, there's going to be more people coming. There's going to be a lot more people that are going to be waking up and, you know, seeing for what it is. You know, because you want your family, especially if you got kids. You know what I'm saying? We got kids. I got small kids here. My youngest daughter is 2. You know what I'm saying? I don't want her living in a world where she's going to be constantly in fear. I want her, you know, to live in a world where, you know what, we made a difference and we're going to make sure that she's safe. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I strive for every day.
Yeah, it's really people having compassion for each other. I mean, even the white people should say, look at Justine, what was her name, Damon, or even more, Kelly Thomas. He was a son of a sheriff. He was beaten to death, and then his killers got off.
Yeah.
You know, just like anybody else, they need to realize that eventually it's going to hit every group. Right now, it's still the racist thing, but, you know, you can only do that so long.
Yeah.
And anyone can get pulled over. Look at Sandra Bland, like you said. Look at Tamir Rice. Look at all these people. It started with just a cop showing up. Somebody called the police. Yeah. I always tell people never call the police and always film the police. But it's just any encounter, the most innocent seeming beginning to an encounter with the police could end up with a murder at the end, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, they're supposed to alleviate the problem, not exacerbate the problem. You know what I'm saying? When you feel like you're calling the cops, you're like, all right, they're going to help us, right? When you get the cops there and they're actually taking somebody's life because, you know, something that they made or they started, you know what I'm saying? It's usually, you know, and that's some way, form, or fashion and stuff like that. So, you know, it's something that needs to be addressed, you know, because I feel like the cops, their agenda is, like, right now is to not help. You know what I'm saying? They're making the situation a lot worse than what it needs to be, you know. So.
I mean, people have called because their relatives are suicidal, and the cops show up and kill them on many occasions, not just one or two. That's quite common. It's really insane. I don't know. We just hit the hour mark on the show, so I'm just gonna. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the last word to say anything you think needs to be said or that we didn't cover, maybe. Mm-hmm. We're not in a rush or anything. Just letting you have the last word.
I mean, basically, I'm just, like I said, I'm gonna be here. You know, if there's other families out there who need us to put their family story out there, we're here. You know what I'm saying? You could DM us, you could tweet at us. We talk to anybody and everybody. You know what I'm saying? We have no issues with nobody unless you're a troll, obviously. But you know, we're here to fight for you. We're here to fight for your family and stuff like that and get their story out there. if it's not being put out there in the mainstream media, we're going to be there to try to help as best we can. We do have friends who have large followings. You know what I'm saying? Give a shout out to my friend D'Lo. He does amazing work. You know what I'm saying? He's
D'Lo
always
Taylor.
Yes.
Oh, I love him. Intel group member too. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So we're always there. You know what I'm saying? And all you gotta do is just hit us up. You let us know what you want us to do, basically what you need us to do, and we're gonna be there for you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have your back. We're gonna put your story out there. We're gonna we will help you spread your GoFundMe, whatever it is that you need us to do. I don't it doesn't matter to us. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do whatever it needs to be done to get your family member's story out there. So just know that. You know what I'm saying? Because we're here for the people. So that's pretty much
awesome.
all I have to say.
And your Twitter is at I love my wife, right?
Yeah, at I love my wife 0007.
Okay.
So
at I love my wife 0007.
That's right. Yep. That's
100%. I'll put that in the description as well. And like I said before, you can stay on after we end this. And
okay.
Any other links or whatever will be in the description. So yeah, thanks so much for being on. I really appreciate it. You guys
thank you for having
important work. It's so amazing. Thank you for doing it.
Yes, and thank you for having me, and thank you for helping us spread our story and just trying to help people, get the justice they deserve. You know what I mean? I feel like these families need help, and there are a lot of people that are willing to help. All you got to do is just put it out there. Don't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? Put your story out there, and come out here if you want to help these families. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid, because you know what? You're just being another voice of the voiceless, and that's something that I stick to all the time. I'm a voice of the voiceless. You are a voice of the voiceless. You know what I'm saying? If you down with us, you're a voice of the voiceless, and these families, they need our help. You know what I'm saying? And the more people that come, the more people will see that, what I'm saying, this is true, this is what needs to be done, and this is how we're going to help all these families and all these victims and stuff like that, get the justice they deserve. And
cool.
I appreciate you and everything that you do and all the help that you do for the families, victims as well. So I do want to let you know that.
This is People's Radio, and it's your station too. If you ever need a message or anything, you ever need a show for anything, always just let me know. We'll get it done.
Well, I mean, I could tell you this much, man. If you want to reach out to some of these family members to put their stories out there, you can do it. A lot of these family members need to have their voices out there too. A lot of these mothers and grandmothers and stuff like that, they need help getting their sons and daughters and grandkids and stuff like that. There's stories out there. So if you're open to that and you want to speak to some of these family members, what I'm saying, you hit me up and I'll contact them and let them know who you are and what you're about. And more likely than not, they're gonna say they would love to do it.
Cool.
So.
Well, let's talk about that 1 second. Let me wrap this show real quick and stay on the line. We'll talk about that 1 second.
All right,
cool.
No problem.
Thank you guys for listening. My non-objective opinion. Like I said, I was on here with I love my wife 0007. Give me a follow on Twitter, and thanks again. See you guys next time.